I graduated in 1995 from Shippensburg University, the United States System of Education here in Pennsylvania. And I worked in the dining hall there for 3 years. It was the worst job in the world. I made $3 an hour. But the people were crazy, so it was wonderful to be with them. You know, they were always fun and carried on with everything else. There was one guy who worked there, he was from Norway. He was an exchange student. And I thought he was a grad student because he was older. But he was a non-traditional student because in Norway, you had to serve the military first. And then after serving the military, they would, you know, pay for your college, whatever else. Vegard. And I remember Vegard's roommate, who also worked in the dining hall. And I don't know if they still do this anymore, but sometimes in our town, the firehouse would let the siren go. I guess they were testing it out or whatever. And they would do this like once a week. Well, at Shippensburg, they did it every night. And they would do it at about 10 o'clock at night, and the siren would go off. And his roommate was telling me that Vegard would go under his bed and cover his head and crouch down, like it was a bomb drill. And that's what he thought it was. He thought it was an air raid siren. And so every night he was in that room, in that area that the siren was the air raid siren, he went under the bed there and he was so uncomfortable. And I remember talking with his roommate, saying, why don't you just tell him? He said, well, I don't want to be insulted, or I don't really know him that well. I don't want to feel bad or think we're joking about it or anything else. So one day at the dining hall, they were working, and I just said to him, you know, how's your adjustment going? He was coming to school in America. It's still very good English. And he laughed and he said, well, once I got used to the siren, I was okay. So he acknowledged he knew what it was and everything's fine. I just remember thinking how many nights he was tortured with imagining that he might be under an air raid, or that he's going into that position. There was a priest in Pittsburgh, and a woman came to visit this priest, and when she entered his office, she told him to take the crucifix down on the wall. And immediately he was a little bristled by it. That's obviously he was a priest, and he believed in the crucifixion, and it was a powerful symbol. And she came to see him, though, and this kind of troubled him. So she's not anti-religion or anti-Catholic. So the Holy Spirit entered in. And whereas he might have been inclined to say to her, I'm not taking the crucifix down, why don't you go home? He said, I'll tell you what, why don't we switch seats? And you sit in my office chair, and I'll sit out here. And she agreed. And then she went on to tell him the story about how she was abused as a child. And what she remembers of that abuse is looking up on the wall and seeing the crucifix. And Jesus was not coming down to help her. And so the crucifix did not hold a good meaning for her at all. And once he understood that, I mean, healing would occur. Now, I give you these two stories because we are called to judge. And I know we shy back away from it. But we are called to judge. What we have to avoid here are the extremes. You'll hear me say many times over, in media stock virtus. In the middle stands virtue. At the extremes, we have to watch out, because any extreme we might fall into error. And so in that first example I gave you, Vegard's roommate easily could have said something to him, but he's afraid. And so we cannot be afraid to judge when we see something is wrong. God is speaking to Ezekiel and saying, you are the watchman for the house of Israel. And if your friend or your family member or your neighbor is doing something that is not good for them, then you have an obligation to tell them, to try to lead them back to you. And, you know, St. Paul kind of gives us a prescription for that. He says, yes, all these commandments are important, but you want people to obey the commandments through love. To love your neighbor as yourself. We all want to be in heaven together one day. That's the whole goal. And so we necessarily have to judge when someone is doing something wrong. Now the other extreme is bad as well. And the other extreme was condemnation. So if that woman came in and said, take the crucifix down, the priest immediately thought, you know what, get out. This is my religion, and he could have shut her down immediately. And that condemnation might have cost the soul. Jesus never worked that way. When people approached him for forgiveness, he never kind of said, well, you're just a dirty sinner, or you're an adulterer, or you're a liar, or you're wrong. He never condemned them with a word. He always wanted conversion. And the people who followed him were often were sinners. That's why they followed. So we look at these two extremes. Why don't we speak up? Why don't we judge? Because we're scared. Nobody wants to be unliked. Nobody wants confrontation. And what has happened, and it's happened from time immemorial, but we see it especially now in the state of our union right now, in the state of the world, that if someone brings up something, they can immediately be shut down with a word. So that if I were to say, as a Catholic Christian, I do not believe in same-sex marriage, the response might be, we are homophobic. No, I'm not. I don't believe in that. But that word has been used to just stop the conversation. If I said, I'm worried about health care for people, or the poor people, or the marginalized, and you think, oh, you're a social justice warrior. No! That's ridiculous. But social justice is important. Or then if I say, I don't like the looting going on, the riots, and the things like that, well, then you're racist. No, I'm not. I wouldn't care who they were if they're looting and they're rioting and damaging. It's not good for anyone. Or I could say, yes, I'm really worried about the environment. Oh, you're a tree hugger, or you're a lid, or whatever. No, I want to be able to live in the world for many more years. These words, there is such a thing as racism. There's no question. There is such a thing as homophobia, Islamophobia, xenophobia. All these things are real, but they have been so misused for so long that they now become empty of meaning. They become a byline or a soundbite. And that's not the way we enter into dialogue. So I would caution you, if you are judging something and you're trying to figure it out, and, they tag you with one of these terms just to shut you up, there's no dialogue that can happen. And that's what it's meant to. It's meant to cancel out whatever dialogue. So we will continue to be at odds all the time because there can be no understanding of what's going on. And that's the extreme, so we don't want to judge. And if I keep quiet and I don't say anything, I'll be just fine. In fact, I imagine some people who will hear this might bristle a little bit and be uncomfortable, and they could say, well, that's privilege, Paul. But my Nigerian friend and my Ugandan friend who I had dinner with last night spoke of the same things. I think we can look at things objectively and say, oh, this is wrong, or this is right. And if the world tries to silence us, it tries to silence them first. Jesus will say, the world hates you, it hated me first. The world will not hate what is its own, but because you are in the world and not of the world hates you. So we expect confrontation if we're doing what we're called to do, and that requires some judgment. But what about the other extreme? Doesn't Jesus say in Luke's Gospel, judge not, lest you be judged. Condemn not, lest you be condemned. It's funny how many people memorize that exact line. Because they want to be judged. And so we might say, well, it's kind of confusing here because Jesus is saying, do judge your brother. But in Luke's Gospel, he's saying, don't judge. So there must be a contradiction here. And if you look at the Greek, there are two words that are used there. When he says, do not judge your neighbor, the word is katidiekas, and it's a court term, which essentially says, don't call your neighbor guilty. You condemn him. The other word you read is krisis, from which we get the word crisis, which means a condemnation. So in both of these ways, Jesus is not saying don't judge. What he's saying is, don't reduce the person based on one thing that they did wrong. If you're speeding, I know none of you speed, but if you were speeding down the highway, and the cop stops you and gives you a ticket, he doesn't give you a judgment. You're speeding. He gives you a ticket, which is a punishment. But if then that officer was to go on and say, and because you're speeding, you are a horrible, evil person, that's what Jesus is railing saints. So how often do we have people in our life who might be doing something wrong, and we reduce them to that? So if someone is not faithful, we'll say, you're a cheater, or you're an adulterer. No, they are a person who has been unfaithful. Because we can fix that. If we look at a person and say, you are reduced to this sin you have done, well then, where's the redemption? We might as well close all the prisons because there's no chance to renew our life, to be better, conversion. If someone says, you are a liar, well then that's who you are, that's your person. No. You're a person that has human dignity that's told lies. And there's an opportunity for conversion. We don't convert people by dragging them behind people in the street. And how much of church history is filled with sinners who became saints? Not because someone said you're a sinner and you're going to hell, but because they gave them an opportunity. Jesus is asking us to use that gift of judgment in the way St. Paul says as love. That we love our neighbor as ourselves. We want them to be with us in heaven. We want them to enjoy life. And so we need to speak up if we see them not living the way you're supposed to. In the same respect, we also don't want to err on the other extreme and demonize people because they sin. If we do this, then we will create a unity amidst great diversity. Wherever two or more gather in my name, there am I among them. And our prayer is that we can be the voices that go out to draw others in to be his faithful disciples. A unity amidst great